Hi, welcome back to my garden. I'm here in front of my dirt pile and it's a slightly drizzly early spring day, so it feels like the perfect time to take some of my kind of non-hardy perennials out of dormancy. So over winter I store my my Canna lilies kind of like this. These were in a pot kind of near the front gate, and we had like 2 pots of them side by side, and they bloomed all summer. And then I kind of just put them in a plastic pot and put them in the workshop over winter. So the workshop stays above freezing, it's unheated, but I think because it's like a big enough building, it like never really gets cold enough. So it tends to sit at about like 4 degrees Celsius, which is about 40 Fahrenheit. And that seems like a really good temperature to store bulbs and tubers in. So I've stored some like dahlias there, also some things like papyrus grasses. Anyway, so when it comes time to take it out, I basically take the whole pot and then dump it out. And these ones haven't been divided, so you can see where they have like nice and healthy roots. And then I kind of just start working it apart. I'm getting rid of some of the excess soil. There's like a bunch of labels because I'm always worried about missing them, because these all kind of look the same, like especially like the different colors of cannas. Anyway, so I start to tease the whole thing apart, and I don't worry too much about losing a bunch of roots because I know that they'll grow fresh ones once I put them in like a little more heat and give them some food and water. I think they're like pretty much ready to take off. So this will be like a chunk that can become its own plant. So you can see it has like, it's kind of a brown like chocolate color. And you can see this one has like a point, which will be like a new growth point for this season. And it has some like healthy roots, nothing's mushy. That's kind of the one thing. If something looks like it's like rotting or it smells really bad, then get rid of it. And like I said, label well. So this bucket is all yellow cannas, and I have like a whole lot of them here already. So I'll kind of just keep separating. If I wanted, I could take this whole clump and plant it somewhere like in a pot or in the ground, and it would still grow. But because I don't know, these plants are pretty like robust and pretty fast growing, I know that even a little clump like this would probably take off pretty quickly. So yeah, I'd rather have like more plants. I can see here there's like a growth point where this was actually growing, even though there's not really any light in the workshop unless we're working there. It just had the will. And if you end up breaking a piece of root, it's not the end of the world too. I would still just like put it in the ground or put it in a pot and just like see what happens. That came off a little violently, but this has potentially like a couple growth points. I don't know if this one will grow. It looks like it tried to and failed, but maybe it's capable of doing something from there. This middle area is getting very dense. So if I can't take it any further, then I can grab, I have like a little like garden saw that I can just take and like cut through the whole thing. And when I got these, they were just like bare tubers. They had no roots or anything. And they were just like all these little elbows like this. And then it grew into like a gigantic plant. Well, I don't know if I want to get it really much smaller. Oh, these are separate, cool. Ta-da! So I feel like that one, you know, granted it was a pretty big potted plant, but it gave me like, I don't know, at least a dozen individual ones. And it didn't really require anything special for storage. I didn't need any special conditions except keeping it like cool and dark, I guess. But it wasn't like anything more high maintenance than that. Even sometimes, like, I don't know, with dahlias, it's like you might have to like dry them out and then store them, make sure they still have enough like moisture or like stuff like that. It's also a good time to weed. These are little horsetails that are coming up. So that's it. So I'm gonna do that with, I have like several different pots. I'm gonna do that with all of them, and then I'll show you how I plant them after. Okay, so that's the Cannas done. And next I have the Dahlias, and I'm basically gonna do the same thing. So some of the Dahlias, I don't think actually this year, I don't think I took any up and stored them. I think I stored them all like this. So I'll see how easily I can get this out of the pot. It's like a big heavy one. This one was Boogie Woogie, which is unfortunately not my favorite, but it's like the one that does the best. So I'm reluctant to get rid of it. So I think I'm just gonna keep trying it, and I'm gonna try it in a different place again this year, hopefully find somewhere where the colors really work. It's kind of like a little bit like Cafe au lait, if you know that one. It's kind of like a beigey color, but then the center is like a bright yellow, and something about that like beige with the yellow is kind of clashy to me. So I think I need to find like the best like other colors that will like complement it and make it seem a little less clashy. And I don't need all of this, I will cut it off, but just like for now, it's kind of handy. I don't know if it'll break. So all of these look amazing. Everything's nice and firm. Lots of roots and stuff. Like I said, this one's not like my absolute favorite, so I'm not actually gonna divide it. I could divide it and then make a bunch more, but I don't know if I want a bunch more. So I'll just leave it like this. So basically that. And then when it comes time to potting them up, I basically will just put each one in a pot, and then I have a soil mix ready. So the soil that we have in the mound behind me is a mix of like compost, sand, and then composted wood chips. So it has like kind of like all the basics. And then in this section of it, I also added some compost from our pile just to give it some of the life that's like already in the garden. And then I also mixed in a little bit of chicken manure that I bought, because these are all like both pretty hungry plants. So I think having like a little extra boost of energy will be good for them. So when it comes time to pot them up, and I'll do basically the same for both. I'm filling this one up about 1/3 full with soil, and then I'll take one of these guys. I'm gonna go grab my pruners. So I'm gonna grab this guy here, and I could just put that in and I think it would be fine, but I think cutting off the roots is better. From what I've read, like folding the roots kind of just means that they'll like rot where they're like touching each other. And by doing this, I think it's a little bit like when you prune like a fruit tree right before it goes into growth phase, it'll just like shoot out more roots. So that's what I'm going with. So basically I'm just gonna like lightly place that on there, and then I'm gonna take more soil and cover it. I'm gonna hold this and shake it a little bit, just make sure it gets in all the little like nooks and crannies. Maybe slam it down a few times just to get it nice and tight. And then that's it. So this guy, and then I'll label him. I know I had one in here somewhere. So these were the Pretoria Canna lilies, which are like orange flowers and kind of variegated striped foliage, so really pretty. The other ones were, I lost the label a while ago. I think they were mango sorbet, but I might be making them up. But picture mango sorbet and they're kind of that color, like a really pale yellow. Yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna do all the potting up and then I'll check back in. Okay, so that's all of those potted up. For the yellow cannas, because I had so many at the end, I ended up potting up about half, and then I've left about like 12 or 15, I didn't quite count, just as tubers, because I'm just gonna plant these directly into the garden. You can do that, I think, whenever like you're after your last frost. For us, it's normally around mid-April, but I've checked the 2-week forecast, and we're not going to really be anywhere near a frost. So I think I'll just leave them in this pot for now, and then in a couple of days I'll plant them directly into the garden. So then I'll have both. These ones will likely bloom first because I'm going to keep them warm. So basically what I'm going to do now is just like water everything, and then technically they could be outside, but I feel like they'll grow faster if I have them indoors, just because it'll be a little warmer. So I'm going to put them somewhere where they can get just like regular indoor heat. And then once I see growth start to appear, that means that the roots will have like kind of started establishing. Then I'll move them into the greenhouse and start acclimating them to being outdoors. And then the one thing is to be careful not to overwater them. So I'm just going to water them the once, and then I'm not going to water them again until I see like green coming up, or if it happens to be really dry. But here it doesn't get like that dry this time of year, so they should be fine. So the only other ones that I wanted to show you were these elephant ears. So I had done a video in like October about like overwintering and propagating these. So some of the ones that I have indoors are doing great and they have their big leaves and stuff, but I think it's about the time to wake these guys up. So I'm just gonna do the exact same thing, just put them in soil, and then I'll just like keep all these together as like a cohort. And then in addition to those, I also have some more dahlia tubers I wanted to show you. So these ones I stored the other way. I like took them out because I actually had to take them out of the ground kind of late in the season because we had to dig up the bed that they were in. So anyway, so these ones are a little bit tidier. I already kind of divided them. I wanted to make sure each clump had like at least a couple tubers, and you can actually see, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but you might be able to see that the eyes have already started like sprouting a little bit. So you can see like the little red spots, like that's where the new growth will come out. Oops. Like that one, that's where the new growth will come out for this season's flowers. So, and these exactly the same. I'm gonna put them in containers and then just like store them for now. To show you with this last little dahlia that all you need for the tuber to know that it's going to grow is that it has a couple of eyes. So even though this is just like one small tuber, it's nice and firm, and then up here I can see that it has 3 different like potential growth points. So I feel like in no time this will shoot up leaves, it'll start producing energy, and then maybe this one will start to swell and become like a big tuber, and it'll start putting off others as well. So even from this one little piece, as long as there's some eyes, and like right now it's really easy to see because they're swelling and they're colored, but even when they're not, they're basically like a smaller version of that that's like the same color. Anyway, but it's awesome that even like such a small little tuber will put up potentially 3 big stalks with like lots of flowers, and then it will only get better and better with time. And these, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different clumps of that obsidian dahlia, and when I bought them it was just like one bare-rooted plant. So within 2 growing seasons it became this many, and I didn't divide it last year as well. So anyway, so that's basically it for today. So I have like the 2 different kinds of calla lilies, the elephant ears, and then the 2 different kinds of dahlias, divided and non. So I'll put them all in the garage. Once I see growth, I can start watering them, and whenever I'm ready to, whenever I have space actually, because the greenhouse is really full right now. So once some of the hardy perennials come out and go into the garden, I'll have more room, and then I can grow these on there. And then for some of them, like the ones that I left bare rooted, I'll just put them straight into the ground whenever I'm ready. And it will be a little bit of experiment, especially when it's 2 of the exact same thing, just to see like maybe the potted calla lilies grow faster, but maybe the roots are like a little less established than the ones that grow in the ground or something like that. So anyway, it'll be cool to find out, and I will keep you posted as well. So thanks for coming along for today, and I'll catch you next time.